Celebrity interviews are like Forrest Gump's allegorical box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, or how full of booze it's going to be. Here's a list of some of the cringiest moments in the history of conversations with the rich and famous. Does anyone here speak Cardi B? Rapper Cardi B is known for her, shall we say, unfiltered approach to life. This is after all the woman who once said to Juliana Rancic on the Grammys red carpet,
"I'm feeling good, I'm feeling nervous, overwhelmed, everything." You feel it all right now. I feel it all, butterfly in my stomach and vagina.
So with that in mind, imagine how Jimmy Fallon, the overly excitable host of The Tonight Show, was in her presence. Actually, you don't have to imagine. You can watch Fallon be completely flabbergasted by the Bodak Yellow rapper in this interview from December 2017.
You are from the Bronx?
Thanks to Cardi B's preference for peppering everything she says with bizarre sound effects, Fallon was constantly thrown off his game, stopping several times to pause and collect himself. By the end of the interview, Fallon simply giggled and chirped back at Cardi B as she dominated the segment with one-liners and zoo noises.
I heard that and I was like, you know, and I totally was.
Stan the man. Perhaps it's a bit of a stretch to say that this interview went terribly wrong, unless you count an actor turning a promotional opportunity into a real-life Tinder session. That's exactly what happened when Avengers Infinity War star Sebastian Stan repeatedly crushed on Sharon Stone throughout his May 2016 interview on The Late Late Show with James Corden. At one point, the Romanian-born actor even tossed out a pickup line in his native tongue.
How would one ask Sharon Stone on a date in Romanian?
Kind of like this, ce faci?
When it became awkwardly clear that Stan's advances were more than just polite talk show patter, Corden couldn't contain himself.
You're a joke! You're ridiculous! You're fully going for it! You're actually going for it! I love it! I love it! This is exceptional!
Good libations. It's not often that you get to see a mainstream star like Mark Wahlberg get completely smashed on TV, but that's precisely what happened when the Boogie Nights actor popped into the Graham Norton show in 2013. Wahlberg even signaled his own demise at the start of the interview when he chastised Norton for allowing guests to drink on the show.
Why would you allow people to drink alcohol and come on a show?
By the end of the interview, Wahlberg had done all of the following: blatantly hit on fellow guest Sarah Silverman, fully groped Graham Norton's chest, including a nipple tweak while sitting on his lap, and challenged fellow guest Michael Fassbender to, well...
I want to do a challenge. I want to challenge you. I won't challenge you to a big contest.
Producers of the show later said that although they knew Wahlberg was drinking in the green room, he seemed fine to go on. But then, quote, about a quarter of an hour in, something clicked and Wahlberg ended up not quite in the right place. This has to be the nicest possible way to describe behavior that would normally get one kicked out of a house party, let alone a popular TV show. Do not mess with Mila. During a panel interview to promote their 2011 rom-com Friends with Benefits, Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake tangoed with a Russian reporter who had thoughts about Timberlake's acting career. When the reporter asked, in Russian, why Timberlake felt the need to jump from showbiz to movies, Kunis intervened to tackle the perceived slight on her co-star's behalf, and she also happened to do it in fluent Russian. When the reporter continued her strange line of questioning, asking, "Isn't showbiz enough?" Kunis shot back, Timberlake, meanwhile, just resigned himself to let Kunis and the reporter battle it out in their native tongue, telling the crowd,
"This is my bodyguard."
I feel too good. In 1988, singer James Brown was accused by his wife, Adrienne, of subjecting her to a terrifying domestic assault. Shortly after he bonded out of jail following his arrest for the incident, Brown did a completely bonkers interview on CNN.
How did all of this trouble begin?
Living in America.
Instead of addressing the very serious charges he faced, Brown proceeded to sing, ramble incoherently, and at one point get out of his seat and start to dance. Perhaps the most unbelievable part of the segment is when the interviewer actually asked Brown about his then-pending divorce proceedings.
I understand you already have started divorce proceedings. Does that mean that you're now eligible?
Yes, I'm eligible. I'm singing. I want to mingle.
And the interview got weirder from there.
What do you think that is? You
I
look
smell good. I feel good.
And you sing good.
And make love good.
Oh.
Absurd doesn't even begin to describe the whole scenario, which was so insane that comedian Jordan Peele did a verbatim version of it a few years ago. Well, that escalated quickly. It actually wasn't the single awkward question about plastic surgery that turned a Megyn Kelly Today interview with actress Jane Fonda into a full-blown train wreck, but rather the lasting feud it ignited afterwards. Granted, Fonda's ice-cold glare at Kelly was about as cringe-worthy as daytime TV gets.
You admit you've had work done, which I think is to your credit, but you look amazing. Why did you say, I read that you said you felt you're not proud to admit that you've had work done?
But it was her subsequent shading of the talk show host that cranked this thing up to 11. In multiple interviews after the glare seen round the internet, Fonda would reference how much she disliked Kelly's line of questioning.
I was just stunned. It was so inappropriate. You know, it showed that she's not that good an interviewer.
She even returned to Today and jabbed at Kelly again, eliciting shocked responses from Kelly's colleagues.
How long have you two known each other?
50 years.
Oh my God.
Long time.
I think before your first facelift.
Yeah.
To which Fonda replied, without missing a beat,
Who are you, Megyn Kelly?
Not to be outdone, Kelly swung back hard with a segment called A Word on Jane Fonda, in which she highlighted several notable instances when Fonda had previously discussed her plastic surgery. Kelly then went for the kill by unearthing the decades-old controversy over Fonda's remarks during her protest of the Vietnam War.
After all, this is a woman whose name is synonymous with outrage. Look at her treatment of our military during the Vietnam War.
Mad Mel. After a long hiatus from the movie biz following his DUI arrest and subsequent anti-Semitic remarks scandal, action star Mel Gibson returned to the screen with the revenge thriller Edge of Darkness. With any new film comes the inevitable celebrity interviews, but instead of having appropriate responses to the inevitable questions about the then recent scandal, Gibson seems surprised and irritated that reporters would even bring it up.
Thanks a lot for joining us, Mel. Take care. Bye-bye.
In an interview with KTLA's Sam Rubin, Gibson was asked whether he felt some detractors would have a problem with his return.
Some people are going to welcome you back, and other people are going to be like, he should never come back. Why?
And that's when things got really awkward.
Yeah, I gather you have a dog in this fight.
Pardon me?
You have a dog in this fight? Or are you being impartial?
Rubin, who is Jewish, said that he didn't understand Gibson's question in the moment, but later realized it to be an offensive suggestion on account of his religious beliefs. Regardless of what Gibson actually meant by the remark, his nearly instant rage at being asked to address the scandal was not a good look, even for an actor who's made a career out of portraying tough guys. Thanks for watching. Click the Nicki Swift icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.